Good morning. We'll let everybody is still coming in, so we'll start in just a minute. Let everybody get fully logged in. We'll get started. Let's go ahead and hop right in. We'll still have some people joining us. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining to learn about the STEP grant and the new year that we're in. I'm Mike Hubbard, Director of International Trade here at EDP&C. I think most of you know who we are, but we are the economic development arm for the state of North Carolina, a public-private partnership. Our 5 teams deal with business recruitment, bring companies here to North Carolina, existing industry. We want to keep them here. International trade, export promotion, which is us. We have the small business advisors to help small business startups, and tourism. All of us work together hand in hand to create, you see our mission statement here. I won't read everything for you, but we want to make North Carolina the place to be, to work, to live, to invest, to have your business, to be successful, and just to enhance the quality of life for everybody that lives here. Cheryl, you want to forward the slide? Thank you. So here's our international trade team. Each member of our team works with different industry sectors. So if you haven't met the person who works in your sector, please reach out. We'll have all of their contact information as well. Our team, as we said, we work with every industry here in the state to help export all around the world. We have foreign contractors that will help us enter foreign markets. Why is export important for North Carolina? The state, just goods and services last year, we exported nearly $44 billion. About 11,000 companies in the state export, but what surprising to a lot of companies is to find out that 9,500 of those are small businesses. And that's exactly who the STEP grant is targeting. And that's who it's for. It's to help small businesses as they try to enter foreign markets. Sure. Thank you. So, and Cheryl's going to go through the details of who qualifies, what you can do with it, and the details on that. But it's to help, as I said, small businesses enter a foreign market. We do a lot of different things with that. We have export webinars. We have trade shows, trade missions, translation of foreign marketing, of your marketing materials, working with the U.S. Commercial Service, working with XM Bank for export credit insurance. There's a number of things you can do with it, different needs that you have. Our team will work with you on that and help identify what it is that you do, help you pre-qualify so that you know what's available to you with the STEP grant as well, and help get you into those markets. So Cheryl, you want to jump in?
Sure, Mike. There we go.
Sure, and, let me introduce Cheryl. Cheryl Morrow is our STEP grant manager. She runs the program. While you work with our staff member that works in your industry sector, you'll also work with Cheryl to go through the process of the STEP application and the entire process. Thank you all for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for joining, everyone. This has been a long time coming, and finally we get to announce this program. Step 13 is going to be a 14-month program. It started June 30th of this year, and it's going to run until September 29th of 2027. So qualified companies can apply for up to $12,000 per company. And the program does require an application, and you must receive formal approval before you can begin a project or an activity to be able to be reimbursed for it. Eligibility, how does one qualify? So you must be organized or incorporated in the United States and registered to do business in North Carolina. We do check the Secretary of State's website to ensure that you are registered and that you are in good standing. Nonprofits are not eligible, and you must be operating in the U.S. You must meet the size standard requirements, and there is a lookup table. We'll provide, if you go down to the, there should be a more, and then you can get the attachments or handouts there and download the presentation. But these links will take you to the regulations, and if you have your NICS code, you can look it up. It's pretty much most NICS codes, it's 500 or less employees. You have to have been in business for more than a year, and you must have a working website. You need to have access to sufficient resources to bear the costs associated with trade and things like packing, shipping, freight forwarding. Products or service to be exported must contain at least 51% U.S. content. That does include overhead such as rent, salaries, research and development, and other non-material factors. Your business needs to be in good standing without debarment or pending any legal actions, and there will be an actual document that you sign that attests to that. You cannot have any outstanding step surveys. If you are unsure if you have any outstanding ones, you can talk to your international trade manager and we can look that up. I know in the past few days, I've sent out a few outstanding surveys for them to go ahead and complete. And then once they do that, they'll be eligible. You cannot be receiving STEP from another state or another company under the same owner. And experienced exporters, as well as companies with limited or no export experience, are encouraged to apply. What is the application process? So we don't just send out blanket applications to anybody. The applications can be a little bit lengthy. And so we don't want to put you through all that if we can kind of pre-qualify both your company and also the activities that you're looking to be reimbursed for. So we'll ask that you pair up with your international trade manager that supports your industry, have a phone call, consultation, just a conversation, and talk to them about what it is you'll be looking to apply for and a little bit about your company unless they've already worked with you. Once you've had that conversation, they will let me know to go ahead and send you an application. And at that point, you'll receive an automated email. And within that email, there'll be a link to the STEP application. This has all been automated, so we're able to process and handle applications a lot quicker with this automated process. Then let's see, you must apply through the link. And you'll receive, once you submit the application, you will receive a little pop-up box that tells you that it has been submitted. In addition to that, you will receive an automated email with a PDF copy of the application that you submitted. So if for any reason you do not get, most importantly, the PDF copy of the application, reach out to me and we'll figure out what's going on. Our team will then review the application. It goes through a process. And then once you are approved for the activity or rejected for some reason, or if we're out of money, you'd be waitlisted, you'll get an automatic email again that'll tell you what the status of your application is. Once you're approved, I'll send an automatic email again. It'll tell you what you've been approved for, how much you've been approved for, what activity you're approved for, and kind of the guidelines for when you're expected to complete the reimbursement and submit. You do not have approval until you receive that formal email. If you get rejected, I'll indicate in the email why the application was rejected. Here are some of the common reasons. A lot of times folks just kind of like type out what they think their cost will be. That's not a reasonable quote. We're looking for, so if you're traveling, if it's travel you're being approved for, I would want to see the airline that you're flying, the cost of the ticket, because I want to make sure too that you're following the guidelines, and I'll get more into that as we get through the presentation as what travel qualifies. And And then again, also if you've not responded to past surveys, I will also let you know that. The other requirement that we started a few years back is that you can't have received funding for the past 5 program years. And I know that's something that you probably would not be keeping track of. Feel free to reach out to me or the trade manager. We will look that up for you and let you know. If you have received funding for the past consecutive 5 years, we would ask that you sit out for a year. And then, oops, I'm sorry about that. Hold on. Waitlisted. If we run out of funds, we will waitlist you. And a lot of times you will clear the wait list. There's some folks that sign up for something that it never materializes. They don't go on the trip or they don't do the activity. So typically we are able to clear a lot of that wait list. So I would encourage you to, remain waitlisted. But if you are dependent on getting that funding, I can't make any guarantees whether you will clear the wait list or when that would happen. So there's no guarantee. But if you are going to do it regardless, definitely stay on the wait list. Again, once funding is approved, you can complete the activity, and that includes booth and airfare are 2 of the only exceptions that you can pay for those prior to the activity starting. So booth you can pay for up to a year to the event, and airfare can be up to 6 months in advance of the event. So the grant is a competitive grant. It's not a first come, first serve. Here are some of the criteria that we look at when we award companies. Again, really important. The surveys are so important to the program. It's one of our milestones with the SBA that we have to meet is ROI. So those are important things that we take a look at before we approve you. So I just wanted to give you an example of what the application email that you'll receive from me looks like. And you'll see down here is the link to the application. That application is specific to your company. So once you click on that link, it will take you directly to your company specific application. You should not submit an application and then resubmit it again. You would need to contact me if there was a change you needed to make on it or something you needed to add. You would need to reach out to me. I would need to then resend you a new link to the saved application so that you do not have to refill in all the information. It'll probably get caught up anyway. If you tried to do that, it would get caught up in FormStack as an error. So I encourage you not to do that. Reach out to me. And then this is an example of an application that was approved. As I said, the amount is, I'll let you know what the amount is. I would kind of reiterate what show you were approved for, and then also when I have to receive your reimbursement by. And it also walks through the reimbursement documentation that you'll be required to provide once you complete that activity. We ask 30 days from the date that you complete the activity that you submit for reimbursement. Again, that's another thing that we look at. If you are going way over that date, we'll either, I'll reach out to you the first time and tell you that it's due, it's overdue, and you need to submit it. If you still don't submit it, I will decommit the funding. Now we're going to kind of dive a little bit deeper into what are the offerings that you can apply for under the grant. First one is trade show travel. If you exhibit with us in a EDPNC booth as a co-exhibitor, obviously the booth fee is nothing that you would have to pay, and you would also be eligible to submit for reimbursement for up to $3,000 for that event. and that counts towards the 12,000 maximum per company. That 3,000 is for up to 2 company employees, and I'll go a little bit more in depth about the travel a little bit further along the line here. Trade show booth. You can register for a trade show and get a booth. There, you have to be exhibiting. We do not, the grant does not cover if you're walking the floor at a show. You have to be exhibiting. And we would pay up to $8,000 for booth at that particular event. Co-exhibitor fees are not reimbursable through the grant. And you can apply for more than one booth. Like if there was 2 $8,000 booths that you wanted to apply for, and both shows were STEP eligible, you could apply for both, but the max we could reimburse you would be the $12,000. Export services. So this category kind of encompasses a lot of different things. And again, the cap on this particular category is $8,000 per activity. And this could go towards things like U.S. commercial services offerings, their gold key, their international partner searches, would cover translation, and that could be translation of your U.S. website. It could be translation of marketing materials. However, printing of those marketing materials is not eligible to be reimbursed for. Digital ad marketing, videos, e-commerce, XM credit insurance, and marketing lead subscriptions. Those are all reimbursable under this particular grant. We also do offer, and this is not part of the grant, export education webinars. I've provided a link there to our events page. You can register. A little further down in the presentation, I'll go over what specific webinars we're doing this year, but those are free to companies to register and attend. And again, you can apply for up to 2, a max of 2 offerings. So if we dig a little bit deeper into the trade show travel, the reimbursement is only for lodging and airfare. And again, it counts towards the 12,000 maximum. It's available for up to 2 US-based employees of the company with travel originating in the US. Flights have to adhere to the Fly America Act, and it has to be standard economy seating on a US carrier. Lodging is limited to the federal per diem rate for the month and city of travel. And there are some lookup tables there where you can look up what the per diem is for domestic shows and for international shows. Oops. This was an example of when you go to the lookup table, this is what it would look like. You want to look at the maximum lodging rate. The per diem includes food, and this grant is just lodging and airfare. So make sure you're looking at the right column. These are some of the planned trade events for this year that we're looking at going to. This list is subject to change, and in the past it has changed. But this is kind of like our placeholder of where we're intending on going this year. If you are interested in participating in any of these, make sure you're kind of talking with the trade manager when you're going through your pre-qualification call. So booth and trade mission registration fees are also eligible up to $8,000 for reimbursement. It has to be at an internationally held trade show, and you must be exhibiting, and that includes things like booth, furniture, graphics. If you have a domestic show, in limited situations, we can approve some of those, but that would be on a case-by-case basis. and we would have to review that and get back to you about that. And there would have to be, obviously, an international, even if it's domestic, show an international focus. Virtual booth registration at any trade show with an international focus is also covered, and participation and registration fees for qualifying trade missions, they're also eligible under this grant. The trade mission must be organized by EDPNC or one of our partner agencies to qualify. And some of our partner agencies would be NC Ag, US Commercial Services. So that is also something that's covered. Again, here is some of the export services activities that are covered through the grant. I've also provided some links to their particular website, like US Commercial Service. Some of these, the US Commercial Services offerings, if we have a foreign office that does some of this activity for free, we would use that versus using the grant to pay for some of these other activities. So talk with the trade manager and they'll help you determine that. Internationally focused digital outreach services, e-commerce, that is covered through the grant. And then again, the marketing and translation services, that includes the digital ad marketing, videos. Remember that those videos and that marketing has to be geared for an international audience. And again, printing costs are not reimbursable. XM Bank credit insurance premiums is an eligible reimbursable expense under the program up to $8,000. And some select marketing lead subscriptions are also eligible. Talk to the trade manager. We'll let you know whether the particular one you're looking at is one that would be eligible. Here is a list of the export education webinars that are upcoming. In fact, one is coming up next week, how to file for IEPA refunds through CAPE. And then you can see the others. These are all posted currently on our EDPNC events page. You can certainly register now. I think I've also provided there, a link to that page so you can register directly from there. So in addition to our application process, we also automated our reimbursement process. I will say reimbursements can go quickly or they can be painfully long. If you read the instructions that are sent to you and you follow the instructions and submit all the required documentation, it can go really, really quick. If I have to constantly be calling you, what about this? What about that? It just slows the whole process down. So I encourage you to read the documentation that's sent to you for your own benefit. So I will, what will happen is after you complete your, say, trade show, I know the date that it ends. I will send you an evaluation. That evaluation you'll complete, and then you'll also, within that evaluation, upload your reimbursement documentation, all automated once again. Once I receive it, I'll look for completeness and if the rules are being followed. I'll need a W-9 that's signed. A lot of people, this is a common mistake. They send me a blank W-9. It needs to be completed and signed. Payment instructions. There is a form once you're approved that will tell me where you want the ACH payment to go to. So you need to complete that. You need to invoice us for the activity. And on the invoice, you're not just going to put step 13 reimbursement. You're going to need to tell me if it was a booth. You're going to need to tell me what show it was for and when it was. And then that will be sufficient. And the amount. If the amount is over the $8,000 that we'll reimburse you for, just put the total $8,000 because I can't reimburse you for any more than that. And our finance department wants the invoice to match what what we are actually paying. So proof of payment, I will need to see if you paid for your booth via credit card or wire transfer. I'll need to see that documentation that shows us that you in fact did pay for it. Same with airfare. I'll need to see the itinerary, which shows me the dates. It'll show me the class of the ticket, because that's very important too. And then obviously the destination. You can upgrade. If you get a standard economy seating ticket, it's fine to upgrade, but I'm going to need to see what the cost was before you did the upgrade so that I can reimburse you the appropriate amount. And then lodging, same thing. I need a detailed invoice from the hotel. I can't just see a total amount. I need to be able to ensure on a daily basis that you did not exceed the per diem, that there's no meals or room service included in any of that. The grant does not cover that. So a detailed invoice. And then if it's not anything to do with travel or booth, say it's translation of marketing materials, I would need to see the invoice from your service provider identifying the cost and what the service that they provided you. Once I receive all that material and go through it, we'll issue a payment, allow 30 days for us to turn that around. But again, like I said, I can turn reimbursements around much quicker within a matter of days, provided you give me all the information. It can go a lot quicker than that. And you'll get an email, an automated email again, once I submit that reimbursement to our finance department to go ahead and pay it. You'll get an automated email letting you know that the request has been sent to the finance department, and so that you know that it's on its way. You will receive a post-activity survey. So in the very beginning, you'll get the evaluation about the activity, but 9 to 12 months, maybe sometimes even 6 months after you complete the activity, that's where the STEP survey comes into play. And that is, we consider that a post-activity survey. That is where we really capture things like ROI, just, the benefits of having performed this activity, so that we can report that back to the SBA. And that is not reported, by the way, by company. I don't want to make anybody think that we are specifically calling out your company. We report in aggregate, so we are not specifically talking about your company. So here are some of the key dates for Step 13. We're having our webinar today. Applications will not go out before the 17th. This is the time where you start thinking about what you're going to apply for, and then contact your trade manager to have that conversation. Once they let me know to send you an application, that's when I will send those applications out. And please, if you get approved for the activity on Monday, this program has not been touched in about a year. And as you can probably guess, a lot of people are very excited that it's back, and I expect the applications to come in pretty heavily. So just know that you got to give me a little bit of time to respond too. So again, the program period started June 30th of this year and runs till September 29th of 2027. So any activities that you do have to take place within that time frame. And again, booth can be paid up for up to a year in advance, and airfare can be purchased up to 6 months prior to the trade show. So here's a few of the frequently asked questions about the grant. I'll just try to run through some of these. What trade shows qualify for reimbursement? So again, a lot of it is dependent on when it's taking place, making sure it's within the program period. And some domestic shows with a major international focus, could be allowable, but again, we will address that on a case-by-case basis. Conferences do not qualify under the grant unless the conference includes an exhibition component, and in which case we would want to see, you know, either a listing from the show that you were exhibiting, or, you know, a cost for the booth, something like that, that lets us know that there actually was an exhibition component. I think I missed a question here. Yeah. Do trips with potential partners and clients qualify? No, they do not. But if you're exhibiting at a trade show that's in the same area, definitely you could mix both things together. Website projects. The only website projects that are going to qualify under this grant would be translation of your US website, e-commerce, and yeah, that's about it as far as website goes. Can I use STEP funding offerings more than once? Yes, up to 2 activities per company with a 12K max per company. Again, travel is reimbursable at $3,000 per event, but it does apply towards the 12K company max. Booth, you can dip into it more than once, but the max we can reimburse is $12,000, and the same for export services. The max is $8,000 per activity, up to a 12K max. Did I skip one here? No. Okay. Sorry about that. My mouse seems to be sticking here. What types of website projects qualify? They need to make your website more accessible or usable to an international buyer. E-commerce and US website translation both qualify. Can I use STEP funding offerings more than once? Again, up to 2 times. Can I use any vendor I like for my website translation and or translation project? We require you to use a US-based service provider. We can provide you with a list of some North Carolina-based companies that you might consider. And if you would like that, just talk to your trade manager and we can get that to you. If I don't use funding from one offering, can that funding be added into another offering? No. If you change your mind about something and you decide you want to apply for something else, you would need to let me know to resend you the application. I would do that, and then you could you wouldn't have to, when I resend it to you with the new link, all of the original data is there, and you would just either add or take away from what you originally submitted. And it would follow the same process. It would have to go through an entire approval process once again. And if you do need another application, especially right now, if you're going to be applying for 2 booths, make sure your trade manager knows that so that they can let me know, because I will have to send the first application. Then what I will do is I will basically copy that application under a different number, and so that you don't have to re-input all of the information. So if I know up front, I can send both of them right away. Is the feedback I share confidential, including my export sales dollars? Yes. Again, we hold that information in strict confidence, and we do only report to the SBA in aggregate. If we had a success story that we wanted to do on your specific company, or for our website or another media outlet, we would come to you first to get permission first. We would never just go ahead with it. Why is ROI so important? So the amount of funds that are allocated to North Carolina, it's strongly correlated to the previous year's return on investment or export sales. Again, numbers are reported in aggregate, and it's only so they can gauge how the use of the grant is helping North Carolina companies grow. And that is one of our milestones that we have to report so that we can hopefully get more money and not get money taken away. So it's very, very important to all of us, really, you too, that we continue this funding. Can I use travel and booth for the same trade show? No, that'd be like double dipping. You cannot. And travel is really only available if you are co-exhibiting with us anyway, and your booth would be free if you're co-exhibiting with us. So that kind of takes care of that issue. Can I apply for every funding, again, up to 2 offerings, 12K max, 8K per event for other activities other than travel? Travel is a 3K max. And can I apply for an event or project that has already happened? No. You'd have to get approved for funding before the event takes place or the project is executed. That is an SBA rule, and we are bound to the SBA rules if we want to continue to get this funding. So let's see here. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, besides the STEP grant, there are a lot of other services that our international trade team can provide to North Carolina companies. Some of you may have already participated. Just recently in July, we had our Go Global Roadshow event. That is where our foreign offices come over and we travel throughout the state, and companies have the opportunity to schedule one-on-one consultations with those offices. We just completed that at the end of July, and we are looking to start up again next July. I believe it's July 19th would be the week that we'll be doing Roadshow again. The offices are Mexico, Canada, Europe, and Southeast Asia. They can also assist you with distributor and partner searches, market entry strategy, market intelligence, advocacy, export finance assistance, product reviews, pricing evaluation. So we do so much more than just the grant. The grant is just one of the tools, one of the things that we have to offer companies. But as you can see, there is a whole lot more that we offer. One of the other newer things that we're offering to companies is a new program, the Export Accelerator Program. This program is, there is a cost for it. This cost is $2,500. It's for up to 3 attendees per company that can attend. It consists of 4 workshops. And as you can see, there are the dates for this next cohort that is starting up here within next week, I believe. And then one-on-one coaching. So if you are at all interested in exploring this, definitely you can reach out to Kendra Kuo. She is the program director for this program. Especially if you are interested in starting in this next cohort, I would strongly encourage you to reach out soon, like within days. Again, this is our team. I've put pretty much the industries that each of these trade managers support. So if you're not quite sure who to contact, certainly this should help you know who you need to talk to. And at this time, I'd like to open it up for any questions that you might have. Let's see.
Cheryl, do you want me to read questions off that came in?
That'd be great.
We had several. The first one, because the start date was on June 30th, do we still have time to apply? If so, when is the application deadline?
So you have time to apply. The applications have not even been available to anybody and won't be until Monday, August 17th. But in order to get an application, you have to reach out to the trade manager that supports your industry and have a conversation so they can pre-qualify not only your company, but also pre-qualify the activities that you're looking at getting reimbursed for.
Okay, thank you. Two related questions. How do we find out who our international trade manager, and how do we get an international trade manager?
Yeah, so that slide I just showed you previously, that shows you in that slide, this something similar to this is on our website also under export assistance. Start exporting. There is a list of each trade manager, their phone number, their email address. Just reach out to them.
Okay. Will the grant cover export fees for equipment to a trade for equipment to a trade show as well as the booth? For instance, we were wanting to sell into Canada and thus want to attend trade shows in Canada with our equipment.
So the grant would not cover your shipping costs, if that's what you're asking, your cost to ship that equipment to that show. It does not cover that.
Okay, someone asked, can you share the links in the chat? And we are going to share this webinar has been recorded, and we will share that with everybody as well. So we'll get all the links to you on that.
Yeah, we'll send, we'll post this recording on our website. Also, there is a, when you go to edpnc.com, there's a blue bar that runs across the top of the page. If you go over to export or start exporting, there's also a tab there for STEP. I'll put the recording on that STEP page, but we'll send an email out with the slide deck so that you have that in addition to being able to refer back to the recording.
Oh, we had a question. Where can I go to see the grants we previously have received?
So you would not be able to see that. That's a conversation. If you, I'm assuming you're thinking that maybe you have received the grant for the past 5 years. I can look at that or the trade manager, but we'll get an answer back to you quickly on that.
Thank you. We had the question if the material on the slides will be available after the webinar.
Yes.
So yeah, this is all recorded and we'll share this with you as well.
Does bring up a point though. So one of the things that I'd like everybody to download from the materials is there is a form there, self-certification as a self-representation as an eligible small business. Part of what the grant, one of the other milestones we have is the number of clients served. We can count you as a client served because we're bringing this information and this grant to you, but we can't capture you or report it as a client served unless you've signed that self-representation as an eligible small business. I would really appreciate it if you would all do that. I'll put another copy of it when we send the slide deck out. I'll also attach that and ask that you return that to me so that we can count you as a client served.
Okay, we had a question. Did you say you can only apply every 5 years?
We ask you to take a break after you've received 5 consecutive years of STEP funding. We ask you to sit a year out, and then the next year you can reapply again. It kind of resets everything all over again. And the reason we do that is we want to help as many companies as we possibly can. And this grant is very, very popular. And it helps a lot of small businesses. We just want to give equal opportunity to everybody to take advantage of this grant.
We had a question. Is the Milan Furniture Market not listed in the planned EDPNC trade event list?
No, so those are the shows that we are attending. You can apply for a booth to a show that we are not going to, and you're going on your own. You can certainly do that. Those are just the shows that we are going to. So if it's not on that list, it is not in our plan right now to attend that.
Hey, our business, bicycle components manufacturer, is not listed under any trade manager? Who would I go to?
Bicycle components, I would say that would probably be outdoor, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that would be Michael March.
Yeah. Which program manager handles the communications technology industry? That would be Mike Ryan. And then tell me again what criteria you did not say FCFS and the surveys are important, but what else is used for consideration?
For, I'm assuming you're talking about
I mean, yeah, criteria for a qualification for the grant for consideration.
So there was a whole slide on the criteria. So you have to be listed in the Secretary of State's website as a registered business. You have to be in, an active current listing. You have to meet the table when you look up your NICS code, be under or at or below the number of employees listed. Generally, like I said, I can't look up every NICS code, but generally it's usually 500 or less employees. No outstanding surveys. No, you have to be in good standing with the government. What else, Mike? What am I forgetting here? Let's see. Let me go see if I can get back to that slide. It's way at the beginning.
And again, we will make the presentation available afterwards as well.
Here is the slide that talks about the eligibility criteria, working website. So yeah, we'll send this out to everyone, but the criteria is listed there.
We manufacture fire detection equipment. Which trade manager would we contact?
I would think that would be Mike Ryan, no?
Probably yes.
Mike Ryan.
Yeah. Would we go to furniture, as we are laboratory fume hoods and furniture, et cetera? We manufacture here in Charlotte, or pharma life sciences. That is our target market.
So if it's life sciences, a lot of companies, they cross multiple industries, but if you most align with a specific industry, like maybe it's medical equipment, then yeah, it would be Melissa McGurk. You would go to her, and we expect there's going to be a lot of cross industry, but you really want to find the one trade manager that most aligns with what you think industry you most relate to.
Just clarifying from the previous question about eligibility and looking at the selection process, what would make you choose one application over another?
Well, I mean, gosh, if there's a company that we've worked with that, like I remember a lot of the companies, and so if you were difficult to deal with or never getting me the documentation or like it was just very painful, I'm going to remember that. So I would say just, like I said, read the documentation that I send you, kind of like follow everything. That's kind of outside of these. But when we start getting down to it, yeah, if you've been really difficult to work with, or I'm having to chase you all over the place to reimburse you, that doesn't, I mean, that goes into our heads. So.
Yeah, and we look at export readiness as well. If a company is prepared for the market.
Right.
We're a North Carolina distillery. Who would be our manager?
Distillery, would that be Jerry?
Yeah, that would be Jerry.
Yep, Jerry Barudis.
And Michael March answered on the fire suppression systems. He would be the contact for that.
Ah, okay.
And that's all the questions. Oh, no. No, that's all the questions we have.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Thank you everybody for joining. Like I said, it's been a long time coming. I'm so thankful that this program has come back, because I know it does benefit a lot of North Carolina companies. So we look forward to working with you. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or to your trade manager. And yeah, looking forward to serving you. Thanks, everyone.